Whispers of America's Ghost Towns, a gentle night journey. The late afternoon sun poured a gentle golden hue across the empty streets of America's forgotten towns. Dust rose slowly with each step on the uneven wooden boards, glinting softly in the soft light. There was no rush here, no traffic, no distant hum of voices, only the whispers of wind through broken windows, the soft creaking of old doors, and the faint rustle of leaves from the surrounding trees. This was the world of ghost towns, places that once thrived with life but now existed only as memories suspended in time. As you walked along the main thoroughfare, the quietness embraced you, wrapping around your senses like a soft blanket. Each house, each building told its own story. Their weathered walls leaned slightly, bowed under decades of sun, wind, and snow. Windows, some cracked, some entirely missing, reflected the golden sunset with a soft shimmer. The light danced across the uneven planks of the sidewalks, revealing the outlines of shadows cast by structures long abandoned. It was as though the town itself was breathing slowly, quietly, patiently waiting for someone to listen. The general store stood at the corner of the main street, its once bright sign faded to a pale memory of its past. The bell above the door, now rusted and silent, still swayed gently with the occasional breeze. Inside, shelves sagged beneath the weight of dust-coated jars and tins. Faded labels hinted at goods that no longer existed in the modern world. A single chair lay on its side in the corner, as if someone had left it hastily, yet no one would return. The faint smell of aged wood, mingled with the earthiness of the town, lingered like a quiet echo of long-gone activity. Walking past the store, you could see the homes lining the street, each different yet similar in their quiet abandonment. Porch steps sagged, paint peeled from clapboard siding, and gardens that once bore flowers and vegetables had long been overtaken by wild grasses and creeping vines. You could almost imagine the daily lives that unfolded here decades ago. Children laughing as they ran through the streets, neighbors exchanging stories over fences, families gathered at the hearth as dusk approached. Every detail of these homes held the imprint of those who had once called them home, now frozen in silence. The town hall, a stately structure, even in decay, stood at the center of the settlement. Its doors were warped from years of neglect, its windows opaque with grime. Inside, long wooden tables still bore scratches and marks from meetings long past. The floorboards, worn smooth by countless footsteps, groaned softly as the breeze slipped through cracks in the walls. The quiet was complete, almost sacred. Every sound, even the smallest, seemed to resonate with the weight of history, the echoes of decisions made. Voices raised in debate, laughter shared over small triumphs. Nature had begun its quiet reclamation of these spaces. Grass sprouted between the cracks in the sidewalks, and tiny plants pushed through the gaps in the foundations of houses. Vines twisted around wooden beams, climbing eagerly toward the fading light. Birds nested in the eaves of rooftops, and small animals scuttled across empty streets and through open windows. Despite the absence of humans, the town was not lifeless. It had simply transformed, blending with the natural world while retaining the faint imprint of its past. As evening approached, the shadows lengthened across the town. The fading sunlight cast long, soft shapes against the buildings, turning familiar forms into mysterious silhouettes. Chimneys leaned slightly, casting slanted lines over cracked walls. Fence posts stretched their shadows across deserted yards. The play of light and shadow created an atmosphere that was haunting yet gentle, unsettling yet calm, perfectly suited for reflection and quiet contemplation. Walking further, you might come across an old church, its steeple still standing tall despite decades of neglect. The doors hung slightly ajar, revealing the interior bathed in soft, evening light filtering through stained glass. Pews were covered with layers of dust, and the scent of aged wood and mildew filled the air. Here, it was easy to imagine the congregation gathered on Sunday mornings, voices rising in song and prayer, a rhythm of life that had long since vanished. Yet the building retained a dignity and serenity, an enduring reminder of the community that once thrived here. A small schoolhouse might stand nearby, its chalkboard blackened by time, desks overturned or faded. Here, children once learned to read, to write, to dream. Their laughter and curiosity seemed to linger faintly in the air, mixing with the stillness of the empty streets. Even the playground equipment, now rusted and silent, evokes a bittersweet memory of joyful noise and spirited games, now replaced by the whisper of wind through hollow swings. Everywhere you look, there is a gentle rhythm to the decay. The town exists in a delicate balance between human memory and natural reclamation. Windows glow faintly with reflections of the last light of day. Doorways frame patches of sky, empty yet beautiful. It is a peaceful place, inviting you to slow down, to walk gently, to observe without urgency. The roads wind lazily through the settlement, sometimes ending abruptly at overgrown fields or thick clusters of trees. Along the way, old signs sway gently in the breeze, their faded paint hinting at shop services or warnings from long ago. The remnants of fences mark property boundaries that no longer matter, while the ground underfoot is uneven from years of settling and erosion. Yet every detail contributes to the narrative of life once lived, here a story that is, complete in its silence, vivid in its quietude. By the time night fully descends, the town is bathed in a soft blue light, shadows stretching across the streets and buildings. Stars begin to appear, their light unobstructed by city glow, scattered across the heavens like tiny lanterns guiding you through the town. The air grows cooler, carrying a faint, earthy scent, as if the town itself exhales a final sigh before sleep. Here, in these forgotten streets, you realize that ghost towns are not haunted by specters or fear. They are haunted by memory, by the gentle echoes of lives that once filled every corner. They exist in a state of peaceful reflection, a reminder of the passage of time and the impermanence of human endeavor. As you continue your walk through the town, you may pause at an old well, its stones weathered smooth by decades of hands reaching to draw water. You may rest on a broken bench outside a house, listening to the quiet, feeling the slow rhythm of history around you. Every sound, every breeze, every flicker of light reminds you that this place, though abandoned, is alive in memory, serene and complete in its stillness. As you stand up again and continue along the quiet path, through the ghost town. The soft glow of moonlight begins to replace the last traces of sunlight. The sky turns into a deep, velvety blue, scattered with stars, each shimmering gently like distant memories. The moon hangs low, illuminating the roofs of abandoned houses with a silver sheen that adds a dreamlike quality to everything around you. The wooden boards beneath your feet creak softly as you walk, but the sound feels comforting in the stillness. Even the faintest noises feel alive. The distant hoot of an owl, the hushed brush of wind through brittle grass, the soft tapping of a loose piece of tin against a roof. It is a symphony of solitude, a perfect melody for a gentle night journey. Further ahead, the remains of an old blacksmith shop come into view. The structure leans heavily to one side, its walls scorched from forgotten fires, its tools scattered across the dusty floor. Rusted horseshoes hang from nails, their once polished surfaces now dulled by decades of exposure. You imagine the clanging of hammers against anvils, the glow of molten metal, the skilled hands shaping iron for townspeople who depended on the blacksmith's craft. Though silent now, the space holds onto the energy of those bustling days, as if time has preserved the essence of work and dedication within its walls. A gentle breeze drifts through the air, carrying with it the soft scent of desert sage. The night is peaceful, almost sacred, as though the entire ghost town has settled into a deep, eternal sleep. You step carefully, not wanting to disturb the serenity that hangs over the abandoned streets. Even the stars above seem quieter here, their light falling softly over the worn rooftops like a protective blanket. You eventually find yourself walking toward the remnants of an old saloon. The swinging doors, once lively with movement, now hang crookedly, swaying in the breeze. Inside, broken chairs lie scattered across the dusty floor, and the long counter bears the scratches and dents of countless evenings spent in conversation and celebration. Faded posters cling to the walls, their edges curling as if trying to escape the passage of time. A grand piano rests in one corner, its keys yellowed and cracked, yet somehow it seems ready to play once more. A quiet lullaby echoing faintly in your imagination. As you move deeper into the town, the quiet becomes richer, fuller. The night wraps around you, and for a moment, it feels as though you've stepped into a world untouched by the chaos of modern life. There is no noise, no urgency, no distraction, only the steady presence of history and the gentle murmur of the land itself. An old water tower rises above the rooftops, its metal structure silhouetted against the moonlit sky. The ladder rungs are rusted, the paint peeling, but even in its decay, the tower stands tall, a proud reminder of the lifeline it once provided to the people who lived here. Beneath it, dry patches of grass sway softly in the breeze, creating a whispering sound that mingles beautifully with the quiet night. As you walk farther, you come upon a long-abandoned railway track. The metal rails glint faintly in the moonlight, stretching into the distance like a pathway into the past. Wooden sleepers lie cracked and splintered, consumed partially by earth and weeds. You imagine the distant rumble of trains that once rolled through this very spot, carrying people, supplies, and stories from one place to another. Now, only silence remains. yet the track still holds the memory of movement and connection. A small wooden bridge crosses over a narrow stream that trickles gently beneath it. The water glimmers with reflections of the moon, creating tiny sparkles that dance in the darkness. The sound of the stream is soothing, a soft melody that blends with the night air. You pause for a moment on the bridge, breathing in the calmness, letting the peaceful environment settle into your mind. Not far beyond the bridge stands a tiny cabin. Its roof has partially collapsed, and the walls lean inward, but the structure still stands resiliently. Inside, you can see a narrow bed frame, a tiny table with a cracked ceramic cup, and a stone fireplace that has long grown cold. You picture a family gathered here once upon a time, warming themselves by the fire, sharing meals and stories, living a simple yet fulfilling life. The ghost town preserves these moments in silence, offering them gently to anyone who listens. The night deepens as you walk, and the sky transforms into a tapestry of stars. The air cools just slightly, crisp enough to feel refreshing. A soft mist begins to form in patches across the ground, swirling slowly around your feet as you move. It gives the town a dreamy, almost otherworldly quality, as though you're drifting through a memory rather than a physical place. Every building you pass feels like a portal into another time. The hotel stands tall, its sign barely readable, its windows boarded. The post office sits quiet, its pigeonholes empty. Even the small barber shop, with its dusty mirror and rusted scissors, speaks softly of days when people filled these rooms with life, conversation, and as the night deepens and our gentle journey continues, the world outside your window grows quiet. The heartbeat of the modern world fades, and you remain here with me, drifting softly through these forgotten towns, places where time once lived, breathed, and then slowly went to sleep. Let us wander now into another silent memory, a town once surrounded by endless miles of golden wheat fields. Its name has long been worn away from the old railway signs, but the wind still remembers it. Imagine a single train track stretching across an empty horizon. No trains now, only rust, only the sigh of the wind brushing across the metal. Long ago, farmers carried their harvest along these tracks, their voices warm with hope. Children would chase after the trains, laughing, believing the world was much bigger than the map in their school books. But as decades passed, machines replaced hands, roads replaced rails, and slowly, this proud farming town slipped into silence. The fields still glow under the moonlight, but no one walks between them anymore. Yet tonight, you and I are here, listening, feeling the quiet story these fields still tell. Let the softness of that wind help your mind relax. Imagine it flowing gently over your thoughts, brushing away every worry that tried to follow you today. Now we travel west, where the deserts of America stretch like an ocean made of sand. Here we find another ghost town, a mining settlement buried under time. In the late 1800s, hundreds of miners lived here, digging deep into the earth, searching for silver and hope. Their boots once echoed across the wooden sidewalks, their lanterns glowing like tiny suns in the dark tunnels. But when the silver veins dried up, the people left as quickly as the wind changes direction. The saloons closed, the small schoolhouse emptied, and the desert slowly reclaimed everything. Tonight, under a soft moon, the desert paints the abandoned homes with pale silver light. If you listen closely, you might almost hear the soft creak of a forgotten door, or the gentle tap of wind against an old window frame. Not frightening, just memories, soft echoes wrapped in warm silence. Let your breathing slow now, in through the nose and gently out, as if your breath itself is exploring these empty rooms. As our journey continues, we reach a town deep inside the forests of the Pacific Northwest. Tall, evergreen trees guard it like ancient protectors. Fog curls around the rooftops, soft and cool, carrying the smell of pine and rain. Once, lumber workers filled these forests with life and movement. The mills ran all day. Ships carried wood to faraway cities, and children played near the river, their laughter echoing through the trees. But when the mill closed, families moved away, one by one, like leaves falling quietly from a branch. Now the forest has grown back, wrapping itself around every house, every fence, every forgotten mailbox. Nature is gentle here, soft, almost comforting. Walking through this place feels like wandering inside a dream. Let this dreamlike forest hold your mind softly. Let the calm push you closer to rest. We drift onward now, toward a small coastal town touched by ocean breeze. Once, fishermen here would greet the dawn with bright eyes, their wooden boats rocking gently in the harbor. Seagulls circled overhead, and the smell of salt water filled the air like a familiar friend. But storms grew stronger through the years. The sea grew harsher, and slowly the harbor emptied. Now the boats rest like sleeping giants, their ropes swaying softly with the tide. The lighthouse still stands, its light no longer guiding ships, but still glowing faintly, a final heartbeat of a once lively town. Imagine the sound of waves now, slow, steady, rhythmic, like a lullaby written by the ocean itself. Let each wave wash away the last bits of tension from your mind. Our journey through America's forgotten places may be quiet, but each town carries a memory, and each memory helps guide you toward deeper rest. These places remind us that it's okay to pause. It's okay to be still. Even the busiest towns eventually learn to rest, to breathe, to let time move gently. And tonight, so should you. We float now into the softest part of our journey, a place where all the ghost towns blend together into a warm, dreamlike landscape. Faint lights glow in distant windows. Old streets stretch like peaceful pathways, and the night sky above is calm and endless. Feel the weight of the world slipping off your shoulders. Feel how your body grows warm and heavy, like it is sinking into the most comfortable bed. Your thoughts slow. Your breathing settles. Your muscles soften one by one. This is the moment where the journey becomes sleep, where the stories fade into the quiet part of your mind, where the night gently takes you into its arms. You are safe here. You are calm here, and you are ready to rest. As the final lights of these ghost towns dim, you drift softly, peacefully, deeper and deeper into a long, quiet, beautiful sleep. Good night, and may your dreams be as gentle as the whispers of America's forgotten towns. The night begins quietly, almost too quietly. Not the silence of an empty room, not the silence of a sleeping neighborhood. This is deeper, pure, a silence that feels like it has watched centuries pass, while never saying a word. As you enter the forgotten path leading toward America's ghost towns, the air changes around you. It becomes heavier but gentle, like a warm blanket placed softly over your shoulders. The world behind you fades, and in front of you stretches a road covered with dust, moonlight, and memories. The road bends slightly to the left, and you follow it with slow, steady steps. There is no rush. Tonight, you are not walking into danger. You are walking into stories. Stories that have slept too long, waiting for someone to listen. A soft wind brushes the ground, moving loose sand like tiny waves across the earth. It feels alive. The air here smells of desert wood, old nail, rusted iron, and something faintly sweet. Something like the last breath of an abandoned home. You stop for a moment. You take a slow breath in. The air feels colder now, but comforting, like stepping inside a room long untouched, but still holding warmth. Ahead of you, the moonlight touches the broken wooden sign, "Welcome." Just that one word, no town name, as if the place itself has forgotten who it used to be. You touch the sign gently, and the wood feels fragile, as though it could crumble into dust if you pressed too hard. But it doesn't break. It holds on just like the stories hidden in the town ahead. You step forward again. The quiet deepens. Every sound you make, your shoes brushing the ground, your slow breathing, even the faint beat of your heart echoes slightly, as if the town is listening to you. The first building appears on your left. Its windows are cracked, yet somehow still standing. A faint curtain, yellowed with age, moves behind the glass, not because someone touched it, but because the wind carries old memories, like invisible hands. You don't feel fear, you feel watched, but not in a bad way. It feels as if the town is waking up, slowly opening its eyes. After decades of sleep, a distant metal sign creaks, long, slow, like an old man stretching his limbs after years of silence. Another door taps softly against a wall. The town is not alone. You can feel it. You take another step, and another, each one sinking slightly into the dust-covered path where thousands once walked, children running, miners returning home, families eating dinner, voices laughing, people living, now all gone, but their echoes remain, silent yet loud in the air around. A small wooden toy lies half buried near your feet, a spinning top. You kneel and pick it up. It is cold, heavy with years of abandonment. Yet for a brief moment, you imagine little footsteps running across this same spot, the sound of laughter bouncing off these empty walls. You gently place the toy back where it was. It belongs to the town, not to you. As you stand up, you feel the breeze pass your shoulder, almost like someone walked by. You turn. There is nothing, only the quiet, but the feeling remains. Someone or something has noticed your arrival. You walk deeper. The houses grow closer. Their shadows stretch across the street, like long arms reaching toward you. But the shadows do not frighten you. They feel like silent companions, memories in shape, protecting the road. To your right stands a small church, its bell tower cracked, its door slightly open. From inside comes a faint sound, not a voice, not an animal, just the gentle sway of air moving through hollow space. You step Stop near the doorway, but do not enter. You simply listen. The silence feels heavy, filled with prayers that were never finished, songs that were never sung again. Farther ahead, a small lamppost tilts to one side, as if bowing respectfully to anyone who enters. The lamp has not burned in 50, maybe 100 years. Yet, in your mind, you see it glowing with warm yellow light, illuminating couples walking home after evening gatherings. The town was once alive. That truth presses gently against your heart, soft but undeniable. You continue onward. The next building is a saloon, its wooden doors swinging weakly in the breeze. You touch them, and they creak just enough to reveal a dark, dusty room that still smells faintly of smoke and old whiskey. You can almost hear the piano notes from long ago, soft, cheerful, someone singing, the laughter of tired workers spending their only free hours. But now it is silent. The piano sits alone, keys broken, waiting. As you step away from the saloon, you notice something that wasn't there before. Or maybe you simply didn't see it earlier. Footprints, very faint, very old, but footprints nonetheless, leading deeper into the town's center. Your heart beats slowly, not in fear, but in curiosity. The prints feel like an invitation. The wind softens, and the moonlight brightens the path ahead. It feels as if the town itself is guiding you forward, toward its memories, toward its secrets, toward the quiet heart of America's forgotten world. Tonight, you are not an outsider. Tonight, you are the listener, and the ghost town is ready to speak. The footprints ahead of you grow softer the farther you walk. Not new, not recent, but old impressions preserved in dust, as if the earth decided to keep them safe for someone who would notice. The moon glides between thin clouds, casting shifting shadows over the silent town. Every time the moonlight dims, the buildings around you appear slightly different, as if the structures breathe quietly in the darkness, stretching, settling, remembering. You pause in the middle of the road, letting the stillness settle around you. From somewhere faint, almost imaginary, comes the sound of a wooden wheel turning, not loudly, not enough to frighten, just a soft roll, like someone pulling a cart 100 years ago. The air thickens for a moment, as if the past overlaps with the present. You don't see anyone, you don't hear footsteps, but the wheel sound continues, echoing faintly before fading away, like a memory slipping back where it came from. You continue forward. The town opens wider now. More houses, more shadows, more dust-covered stories waiting to be touched by moonlight. To your left stands a schoolhouse. Its door is crooked, leaning slightly from age. You place your hand on it gently, and it swings inward without resistance, light as if the years made it hollow. Inside, rows of small desks sit quietly, their surfaces scratched with initials of children who once filled this room with laughter. A broken chalkboard leans against the wall, still bearing the faint outline of a sentence written long ago, words too faded to read, but the intention still lingering in the air. You walk between the desks slowly, almost hearing the soft whispers of children, reading lessons aloud. A breeze sneaks through a crack in the wall, lifting particles of dust like glowing golden fireflies in moonlight. You stay there for a moment, breathing in the gentle weight of forgotten learning, dreams left behind, tiny hands that once held pencils, eyes that once looked toward a future they never lived to see. As you turn to leave, a soft tapping sound emerges from the corner. Not fast, not aggressive, just a small wooden clack. Then another, like something gently hitting the floor. You look toward the noise. A tiny wooden ruler lies on the ground, still rocking slightly as if it just fell. Though no one touched it, you watch it until the movement stops. Then slowly step backward out of the schoolhouse, pulling the door closed. As a sign of quiet respect, the road ahead draws you into the deeper heart of the town. The silence becomes calmer, almost melodic, as if the wind hums a tune only the old walls understand. You pass a long-abandoned general store. Its shelves are lined with rusted cans, empty jars, and faded labels barely readable. Through the window, you can see a rocking chair lying on its side, frozen in time. A single playing card rests on the floor, the Queen of Hearts, a symbol of love, luck, and lives once vibrant. Further along, you find the blacksmith's workshop. Tools hang untouched on wooden boards, thick dust covering iron shapes that once made horseshoes and wagon parts. The fireplace is cold, but you imagine the glow it once cast on the sweat-covered face of a man working deep into the night to provide for his family. You turn away, your footsteps sinking deeper into the soft earth. Past the workshop stands a water pump. Its handle is rusted into place, but as you walk by, a single drop of water falls from the spout and lands on the ground. One drop, clear, cold, real. You touch the spout. It is completely dry. The drop was not from now. You step back, a tingling sensation brushing across your arms. The town is speaking again, not with voices, but through moments, memories, and tiny echoes of life. You continue forward, breathing slowly, letting each new corner reveal itself at its own quiet pace. The path leads you to the town center, a circular opening surrounded by wooden posts, where a small fountain once stood. The fountain is broken now, but the stones around it remain polished from decades of footsteps that circled this very place. You sit on one of the stones, letting the cool surface ground you in the moment. The night air wraps around you, gently carrying the smell of sagebrush, old timber, and the faintest hint of smoke from fires long extinguished. Your eyelids grow heavier. The silence becomes softer, warmer. You close your eyes for a moment, and the town wakes, not in a burst, not with fear, but with the softest rustle, like pages of a storybook turning slowly. You hear faint murmurs, children playing, boots tapping across wooden floors, someone calling a name in the distance, laughter echoing softly, a piano melody drifting from the saloon, where no one has played in a century. You open your eyes. Nothing has changed. The town is still empty, still silent, but the sounds linger in your mind, as real as the ground beneath you. You rise from the stone, feeling a strange emotion, a mix of peace and longing. The people who lived here left traces of themselves behind, and you have stepped right into their lingering dreams. As you walk toward the far edge of the town, the buildings grow fewer, the shadows soften, the road stretches into a darker horizon, as if inviting you to explore deeper, but something tells you to stop. A small, simple house stands at the end, its windows broken, door cracked, roof leaning, yet it feels warmer than any place you've passed. You step closer. Inside the doorway sits a small wooden table. On it lies a photograph, a family of 3 smiling, dressed in old Western clothes, standing in front of this very house when it was whole, bright, alive. You pick up the picture carefully. The edges crumble a little at your touch, but the image remains clear enough to show joy that once filled this forgotten place. You set the photograph down gently, letting it rest where it belongs. As you turn, the wind shifts, and you hear a soft whisper, not words, just a breath, but it carries meaning. The town is thanking you for listening, for remembering, for letting its silence speak. You step outside the house and look back at the path you walked, the schoolhouse, the saloon, the general store, the blacksmith's workshop, the fountain, the footprints. Each place feels different now, not abandoned, not lost, just resting. You take your final steps out of the ghost town, the moon now lower in the sky, casting long silver trails across the empty path. The air grows lighter. The silence shifts back to normal, not ancient, not heavy, just peaceful. You turn once more to see the faint outline of the town behind you. The wind lifts softly, carrying one last whisper across the night. It feels like a farewell, a blessing, a quiet promise. You walk away, your heart calm, your mind wrapped in gentle mystery, knowing this: ghost towns are not empty. They are full of stories waiting for someone who listens quietly enough to hear them. Tonight, you were that listener, and the town will remember you long after the dust settles again. The deeper you walk into the forgotten town, the more the silence around you begins to change. It is no longer the silence of emptiness. It is a silence that feels heavy, as if it carries the weight of years' stories, memories, laughter, tears. It is a silence that remembers. The empty streets stretch out before you like long, quiet rivers of dust, leading into corners and alleyways where footsteps once echoed, where lives once moved like gentle waves. Yet tonight, under the pale moonlight, these streets feel alive in their own quiet way. They are not abandoned, they are paused, waiting for you to listen. The sound of your own footsteps becomes the first rhythm of the night, soft, slow, brushing against the ground where thousands once walked. Children running, mothers calling, merchants laughing, travelers passing by. Everything once vibrated with life in this place, but now those moments live only in the subtle shivers of the air. As you walk, you feel the faint trembling of old memories brushing against your senses. A lonely sign creaks in the gentle wind, and the soft metallic sound echoes down the empty road as if repeating itself from long ago. You stop for a moment. The quietness feels thick around you, and you close your eyes, and suddenly, in the faintest corners of your imagination, you hear them, not clear voices, not ghosts, but the soft impression of life. The whisper of footsteps from a time when this street glowed with lanterns, when families returned home at dusk, when the town breathed with warmth. Now the warmth has faded, but the memory remains, like a faint ember glowing beneath ash. You open your eyes and continue walking, and the pale moonlight spills across the path as the shadows move slowly with the wind. The broken wood of abandoned houses stands silently on both sides. Windows stare back at you like old isom cracked, some missing, some barely holding their shape. And yet, even without people inside, these houses feel strangely watchful, as if they remember your presence, as if they've been waiting. You pass by an old general store, its sin faded and half-hanging. Once, it must have been the heart of the town people, laughing, bargaining, sharing stories at the wooden counter. Now it stands silent, but in that silence, you feel a strange warmth, as if the echoes of long-lost voices still linger at the edges of the broken door. You imagine the footsteps that once crossed the wooden floor, the sound of boots, the shuffle of dresses, the soft tapping of children running around. That symphony of movement is gone now, but the street remembers every note. The wind picks up slightly, swirling dust across your path. You pull your jacket close as the air grows cooler. The night deepens, and with the deeper darkness comes another sensation, emotion you can't quite name. It's not fear, it's not sadness. It's a quiet, slow recognition, as if the town is whispering its story through the shifting air, as if the emptiness is not empty at all, but full of the invisible threads of the past that now wrap gently around your mind. You walk past an old schoolhouse, its roof half collapsed, its windows covered in years of dust. Yet something about it feels strangely warm. You picture the wooden benches inside, the chalkboard once filled with lessons, the laughter of children echoing through the room. Today, the only sound is a soft whistling wind slipping through the broken boards. But if you listen carefully, you can almost hear the faint, distant sound of small footsteps pattering across the floor, like the last trace of a memory refusing to fade. Every step you take sinks deeper into the history beneath your feet. You imagine the people who lived here, what dreams they carried, how they walked these same streets under the same moonlight. Did they know that one day their footsteps would vanish, leaving only quiet dust behind? Did they ever imagine that someone like you would wander here at night, listening for their echoes? The thought touches your heart, and you feel a strange connection, a string tying your present to their long-gone past. Further down the road, you approach the old church. Its wooden cross leans slightly, its doors weathered and cracked. Yet in the moonlight, it stands tall, like a guardian of the town's past. You place your hand on the cool wood, and the temperature sends a subtle shiver through your fingers. It feels ancient, like touching the skin of history itself. The silence inside the church is even deeper, almost sacred. The benches are covered in dust, the altar empty. Yet the atmosphere carries a weight you cannot ignore. It feels like the last prayer ever spoken here still lingers, suspended in the air, waiting for a listener. You step back onto the street and continue walking. The sky has deepened into a darker shade of blue, and stars begin to shimmer faintly above. The road curves slightly, leading you toward the far end of the town. Here, the silence feels thicker, the wind is slower. Even the dust settles more gently. It feels like the heart of the town, the most private part, where the quiet is almost alive. You stop at a house larger than the others. The porch is broken, the steps cracked, but something about it feels important. You stand still, and for a moment, everything becomes incredibly quiet. The air stops moving. The shadows freeze. Even the soft sound of the distant wind fades. And in that perfect stillness, you feel it. Footsteps. You breathe slowly, letting the sensation fade. The night grows deeper, yet the calmness becomes even more comforting. The town is not frightening. It is not dark. It is simply lonely. And for tonight, you are the only soul listening to its heartbeat. You continue walking, and the street slowly opens up, merging into the main path again. The wind returns softly, brushing against the remains of old fences and rusted lantern poles. You look back at the way you came. The long road behind you glows under the moonlight, quiet and unmoving. But in your mind, you no longer see it empty. You see the shadows of people who once lived here. You hear their laughter. You feel their stories. The empty street has become full, again not with noise, but with memories awakened by your presence. You take a slow breath, feeling the warmth of the moment settle into your chest. The town has accepted you. The silence no longer feels hollow. It feels like a soft blanket of time, gentle, warm, and endlessly deep. Tonight, you understand something new. Ghost towns are not about ghosts. They are about the lives that refused to disappear. They remain in the wind, in the dust, in the silent echo of footsteps, no longer heard by the world, except by someone willing to slow down and listen. And you have listened. The street stretches before you, quiet and infinite, and you take another step forward, into the heart of memories that still breathe beneath empty skies. As you move deeper into the ghost town, the quiet streets guide you toward houses that stand like hollow memories against the night sky. Their wooden frames creak softly, the wind passing through cracks like whispers from long ago. These abandoned doors, worn by time and weather, hold secrets that have waited in silence for decades. You pause before one of them, a faded blue door, its paint peeling like old skin, its hinges rusted but still holding on. It feels as if the door itself is breathing, with the weight of the lives that once passed through it. You place your hand gently against its surface. The wood is cold, but beneath that coldness, you sense something warmer, faint traces of human touch. The last fingerprints of someone who closed this door for the final time. You imagine the family who lived here, perhaps a mother who held her child close as the nights grew too quiet, or a father who locked the door every evening, believing tomorrow would bring more hope than today. Maybe they never thought the day would come when their home would stand alone under the moon, waiting for footsteps that would never return. You push the door open slowly. It makes a long, soft groan like a tired scion. Inside, the room is covered in layers of dust that settle like blankets over forgotten memories. But even in this stillness, something in the air feels alive. The shadows on the walls seem to hold motion, as if they remember the people who once filled this space with laughter, arguments, music, and dreams. You step further inside. The floor bends slightly under your weight, echoing with the soft creak of old boards. You look around the room. Furniture still stands where it once belonged. A table with one leg, weaker than the others, leans slightly. A chair sits beside it, still waiting for someone to sit down. A small ceramic cup lies on the ground, cracked but whole, as if someone dropped it in a hurry before leaving forever. You move your hand across the tabletop. The dust is thick, but as your fingers slide across the surface, you feel the faintest pattern underneath scratches made by daily life. A knife chopping vegetables, a child drawing shapes, a hand tapping restlessly during long conversations. These tiny markings are like the heartbeat of the home, preserved silently beneath time. You walk into another room where the remains of a bed sit pressed against the wall. The blanket is torn and the mattress has sunk in the middle. But the shape still holds the memory of someone who slept here night after night. Maybe a young girl with dreams bigger than the desert sky outside. Maybe an old man who used to sit by the window, looking out at the street, watching neighbors walk by with the warmth of routine. The wind enters through a broken window and brushes past your skin with a gentle chill. The curtain half-attached moves softly, like a hand waving from another time. You imagine nights when the family sat together in this room, the lantern glowing warmly, stories shared before sleep, the walls alive with the low hum of normal life. Now the lantern is gone, the voices silent, but the atmosphere still feels warm, like the home never fully accepted its emptiness. You slowly walk toward the back door. It's slightly open, swaying with every soft push of the breeze. Beyond it lies the backyard, overgrown with wild grass, but still holding the layout of a family's life. A broken swing hangs from a tree, rope frayed but still tied. You imagine a child laughing as they swung higher and higher while parents watched. With tired smiles, near the swing is a metal bucket, rusted but still standing. Maybe it was used to collect water, or maybe children filled it with stones during their games. These small traces make the place feel strangely alive, more alive than many busy towns filled with noise but lacking memory. You step outside, and the moonlight casts a silver glow across the backyard. It feels holy, almost sacred, like you're standing in the preserved soul of the people who once lived here. Their stories are not gone. They are silent, waiting in the wooden beams, in the cracked walls, in the dust that rises gently at your feet. You move to the next house. Its door is slightly ajar, the darkness inside thicker, as if holding more secrets. But nothing here feels frightening, only deeply human. Each abandoned door you pass seems to open a window into a life left mid-story. A kitchen with pots still hanging, a bedroom with a diary left open on the table, a shoe lying near a threshold, as if someone had meant to pick it up before leaving. Every detail feels like a whisper, a gentle reminder that these people lived, loved, worked, hoped, and dreamed inside these very walls. You imagine a young couple sitting by the fireplace, planning their future. You imagine a child counting stars through the window at night. You imagine someone writing letters at a desk, believing they had all the time in the world. And then life changed. Slowly or suddenly, no one knows, but they left. And the houses remained holding their stories like fragile treasures. As you walk past each abandoned door, the same feeling grows inside you, a soft heaviness, a warm sorrow. Not sadness in a painful way, but a quiet recognition of the beauty in lost things. Forgotten lives are not truly forgotten. They linger in the walls. They breathe in the silence. They walk with you as you explore their memories. You take one last look at the row of houses standing under the moonlight, their doors broken, cracked, open or closed, stand like guardians of time. You feel the weight of their stories settling gently into your heart. And with each step you take back onto the dusty street, you carry with you the silent voices of the families who once called this place home. Behind every abandoned door lies a world fragile, warm, human, waiting for someone to remember it. Tonight, that someone is you. And as you walk forward, the town seems to watch you with quiet gratitude, as if it knows that its forgotten lives are no longer forgotten. Not anymore. Not tonight.